Ladies and gentlemen, a cell phone was found in the ladies' room. If you're missing your cell phone, please come to the tech booth in the back of the room to retrieve it. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to invite everyone to please take a seat. We are about to begin our presentation. If everyone could please take a seat. Thank you.
Chers amis, dear friends, merci beaucoup d'être tous parmi nous pour ce grand événement. Thank you so much for being with us for this event. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the university presidents with us and all friends together to launch this network, this Paris-Boston network on gender equality. 1 year ago, we started thinking about launching this network to discuss the crucial issue of gender equality in universities. This initiative stemmed from a simple finding: gender equality is a pressing issue, and it is best addressed by fighting biases as early as possible in one's life and career. And while many fora exist to discuss gender equality and women's empowerment in public or corporate affairs, relatively few have been created on university issues. So we thought this could be a truly innovative and useful initiative, bringing together professors and administrators coming from leading universities in New England and the Paris region, two regions widely regarded as norm setters in the field of higher education. And I would like to acknowledge and thank university presidents for their support. President Aoun, 1 year ago we started this discussion, and I want to thank you for your guidance and your support, as well as your team that has been a constant and a steadfast partner. President Paxson and President Bacco, both Brown University and Harvard, show tremendous support, as we can see in the list of panelists today, and your presence means a lot to us. And I would also like to thank the MIT that has been with us since day one, identifying the MIT professors and administrators that are now members of this network. On the French side, I'm so grateful to our leading universities, Paris Sciences et Lettres, Paris-Saclay, Sciences Po, and Institut Polytechnique de Paris for being with us. President Retailleau and President Fuchs, back in January you told me you would be with us today, and you kept your word. So thank you very much. Today we're launching this 100+ members strong network. I hope this group of high-profile university professors and administrators will find it useful to share their experience and insights about gender bias, the promotion of women in STEM, women entrepreneurship, the balance between studies and personal life, career orientation, and continuing education, to name but a few of the issues at stake. And there is work to do. Today we will hear about striking figures when it comes to women in STEM, access to venture capital, gender wage gap. So what are the smartest, most effective, and less contentious contributions universities can provide to address this situation? At this point, let me thank the sponsors of this initiative, institutions well known for their commitment to gender empowerment: Dassault Systèmes, Sanofi Genzyme, L'Oréal, and the Ibsen Foundation, as well as Air France. This event could not have happened without your support, and you were generous enough to help us create a seed fund to contribute to the development of joint projects that could be developed within this network. We see great value in a transatlantic approach to compare different contexts. There are many inspiring initiatives on the US side, and quite a remarkable socio-economic environment in France, which is regularly ranked first among the world's large economies when it comes to women empowerment in the workforce. So I'm looking forward to our discussion today. It has been recognized an official initiative of the French presidency of the G7, because at a time when international consensus on women empowerment should not be taken for granted, we find it essential that France and the US, including civil society, reaffirm their common values and objectives. And without further ado, here is the welcoming message of Frédérique Vidal, the Minister for Higher Education, Research and Innovation of France. Thank you very much.
Aoun, dear French and American university presidents, fellow professors, good morning everyone. May I start this video with apologies for not being among you today. I deeply regret not having been able to travel to the US this time, but as some of you know, I am currently requested at the French National Assembly to pass a new law on bioethics. With more than 60 universities and colleges, Boston and its surroundings are definitely one of the world's biggest academic clusters. And as such, it is certainly one of my favorite places, but also one of the best labs to discuss and craft innovative policies. You are all gathered today for the advancement of gender equality in universities and beyond, to share experiences and good practices you noticed or implemented, and I am both impressed and grateful for the tremendous speakers you managed to gather. As you know, President Emmanuel Macron made gender equality the great national cause of his mandate, and my government has already been working on measures against street harassment or domestic violence. In academia, I committed for all universities to open support and advice units for victims of sexist and sexual violence, and I worked on reforming our universities' disciplinary systems to make sure there will never be any kind of impunity for sexual offenders. The path ahead of us is still long, and sanctions won't operate the changes we are yearning for if they do not come with information, communication, and educational policies in all fields of society, from the cradle of the world of work. One of the panels you will have access to today is about women in science, and that's a topic particularly dear to me. We can all easily notice how women are underrepresented in science, and it is the very reason why I eventually committed to bringing the share of female students in scientific studies to 40% in France in 2022. Operating these changes will take each and everyone's commitment and expertise, and I'm pleased you will be exchanging today on how to implement demanding international standards for gender equality, how to support female leadership, and how to better benefit from the incredible role models we already have in France and in the US. As you know, France has an elaborate philosophy of equality, just like the US has a strong experience in operationalizing its values through affirmative action, for example, but our shared goals and complementary experiences can only enrich our debates, and it is one of the reasons why, beyond gender equality, French-American discussions have always been that fruitful. This conviction also explains why France cared about supporting this specific event in the context of our G7 presidency. Emmanuel Macron has a dear attachment to academia and research, which are both crucial to build pacified, fair, and more sustainable societies. Last July, President Macron also sponsored the first university summit in the context of the G7, the U7, and it was both precious and thrilling to see nearly 50 international universities gathered in Paris, committing to turning into more influential national and international players, advocating for a set of principles they agreed upon, including gender equality. Next year, the G7 will be under American presidency, and I hope you will take on the opportunity to gather the U7 for the second time, and I cannot think of any better place than Boston and its unique academic profusion to make this happen. For now, it is with great enthusiasm that I declare open the first Paris-Boston Women's Forum, and I truly hope the university's network for equality you inaugurate today will achieve a lot through the years. Count of my unconditional support, and have a beautiful day. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Tania Del Rio. I am the Executive Director for the Mayor's Office of Women's Advancement here in Boston. So my job here is to, on behalf of Mayor Walsh, welcome you and give you a little bit of an introduction of what we do at the city to advance women. Beyond that, I also want to share my excitement for this event because I'm a person who believes in exchange. So I'm a former Foreign Service officer, bicultural child, married to a person who is not from the same country as I was born, raising another bicultural child. So I am deeply aware at a personal level of how exchange between cultures can open someone's mind and open someone's world. And when that happens, it's really freedom that you get as a result. Because through education and through learning about possibilities, ways of doing things, even just information that you weren't aware of that came from another place, you are now free to consider it. You're free to incorporate it into your daily life. So for me, exchange between cultures has always been a core part of me, and it's a reason I'm excited about what we're doing here today. So again, welcome on behalf of Mayor Marty Walsh. Thank you, Consul Arnaud Mantré, and thank you, university presidents, both from here and from France. I am very happy to meet you and to see you here today. I also want to take a moment to express mine and the mayor's enthusiasm for France's initiative in incorporating equality and equality of opportunity specifically into their themes for the G7 presidency. Mayor Walsh, as am I, is a very committed feminist, and he's not afraid of the word. He doesn't think it's a swear word. He deeply believes it, and he wears the T-shirt. That's why he established our office, the Mayor's Office of Women's Advancement. And you will hear from my deputy, Brenna Callahan, later on in one of the panels about what we do. But just to give you a little bit of in a nutshell about our priorities, we are focusing currently on economic equity. So we deal with the wage gap. We're now looking at childcare as a barrier for women's participation in the workforce. And we do know we have a lot to learn from France on that. We also focus on women's safety. So like the minister just mentioned, we are looking at issues, for example, human trafficking and commercial sexual exploitations as difficult conversations that we want to start to have in Boston. And then lastly, I guess the happier side of our work involves representation and empowerment. So we're commemorating, for example, next year with a year-long series of events, the centennial of women not gaining because we already had it, but women being allowed to exercise our right to vote. So in a nutshell, that's what we do at the Mayor's Office of Women's Advancement. We do recognize that the struggle for gender equality is very much alive, and it's a challenge that we are still facing today. But in Boston, as in France, we don't really shy away from challenges. We face them head on, and we look forward to that. So today is part of that. I hope that you make the most of the day, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tania. Thank you very much, Tania. Monsieur le Consul général et chère présidente et chers présidents, chers amis et chers collègues, Larry asked me to speak in French, and the Consul General is going to translate in English. So let me start by welcoming you all on behalf of my colleagues and my institution. Why are we here today? We are here today simply because, as President Macron said, gender inequality is indeed a great global cause. And I still remember one of the first acts of the Consul General when he came here was to think about what we can do together here in Boston to further this, the discussion and the action about gender inequality on a global level. So, which means that we are here today not to brag about our institutions. We have a lot to do. There are achievements, there are challenges, and there are opportunities. So we are here to share with each other what works, what didn't work, and what could work. In this respect, we are going to have the presidents with us discussing their experience, and also we are going to be able to share the impact, what needs to be done, and what could be done again. But we believe that no institution is self-sufficient, and therefore we are here because we are seeking to establish partnerships not only in Boston, not only in France, but across the globe, that could help the issue of gender inequality. And therefore, when we look at how we quantify success at the end of the day, we're not going to quantify success based on a brilliant discussion, and it will be brilliant. We're not going to quantify success by the fact that everybody is here. No, we're going to quantify success by the follow-up. And the follow-up is in our hands, in your hands. What are we going to do next to work on the issue of gender inequality? I have been asked to start the discussion by sharing a little bit about the lessons learned. And these lessons are, we learned them over the years. And the first lesson, and you heard already a reference to that, is the power of role models. 6 of our 9 deans at Northeastern are women. And the 3 of them are leading the STEM schools. What we saw is because of that, there was an enormous increase of the number of women moving into STEM. You're going to hear from my colleagues here and my colleague Carla later on. But, that is something that they worked on, and it didn't happen overnight. Yes, there was a conscious effort to recruit women in STEM and women across the university, but also because of their presence, the students, the female students, felt empowered to work in STEM. How do I know that? Because we discussed it, I discussed it with the students, and the power of having role models is very impactful. The second lesson that we learned is the power of experience. And I couldn't not talk about it here at Northeastern because our students go on long-term co-ops of 6 months each. They are in 146 countries. Now, when they do that, when they go there, they are working and studying in a completely different culture and a completely different environment. And every university president will tell you that the students, whether they are in France or here, are coming from all over the world. So the different perspectives about gender equality or gender inequality is looked at it, not only within the confines of this campus, but when the students go all over the world. And what we learned is that this experience allows the students to start learning about gender inequality from a very different perspective. Because gender inequality is not uniform across the globe. It takes different colors, different aspects, and in some countries, what is taken for granted is absolutely not the case in others. So the power of experience has been extremely powerful here for us. The second lesson is that through experience, we can think about invention and reinvention. Let me explain. We have here students, for instance, in WISE. WISE is the Women Entrepreneurship. It's a self-driven association of students launching companies and not-for-profits. Through this invention and creativity, whether it's in entrepreneurship or whether it's in research or whether it's in any other activities, the empowerment is real. I can do this. I can change the world. I can impact the world, and it's in my hands. That's what we saw. The other one is more relevant also for us, and it's through experience there is reinvention. Reinvention in the following way. Many of us started in disciplines, economics, history, physics, whatever it is. And it used to be the case that our disciplines, our studies, determined our journey. And that is one of the reasons, for instance, we don't see enough women in tech. Because we have been predetermined in some ways by our studies, by our education. The lifelong learning approach that we are taking is leading us to rethink this paradigm. And you are going to hear, for instance, from Carla Bradley, the Dean of the Curry College of Computer Science, about programs that were launched explicitly to say and allow women to enter the tech world in a different way. Those are women who studied chemistry, history, management, whatever it is. Some of them are still in the workforce, some dropped out of the workforce. The programs they designed allowed women to come back and reinsert the tech world. So the predeterminism that we assumed is going to determine our life is going to be shattered. And that's something we need to cultivate. We're only beginning to scratch the surface of what could be done. And that's a point where we need to reflect on together. And finally, I want to point about the power of networks. So we talked about the power of role models, the power of experience, invention and reinvention. And finally, I would like to talk about the role of networks. The allegiances to an institution or to an organization or to a university historically have been based on the fact that you studied there, you were educated there. What we are seeing is a change in the following way. what really keeps people together is not the institution per se, but the networks they belong to throughout their lives. So we at Northeastern, and that's a project that has started 2-3 years ago, and is still a nascent project. We started something called Women Who Empower. And Women Who Empower is a global network of women across the globe. What is happening? They are connecting, they are sharing perspectives, and they are building opportunities together. So let me ask Diane McGilvery, who launched this Women Who Empower, to come and talk briefly about that, and then we will start our session.
Thank you, and I do promise to be brief because it's one thing to keep your president waiting, it's another to have 5 presidents who are waiting for you to be done with your remarks. But it does give me a great honor and pleasure to be able to welcome you again on behalf of Northeastern University and our Women Who Empower initiative. This initiative was born out of a desire in our community for deeper connectivity, an interest in creating platforms and fora in which we could share stories across a broad range of topics and disciplines, and most importantly, an unwavering commitment to support and advance the aspirations of this generation and future generations. And as the university's Chief Advancement Officer, I can tell you that I'm very, very fortunate to work in a place that considers advancement from this broad perspective. We take that very seriously, and it's very much part of our mission. So as the president said, in the few years that we've been embarked on this initiative, Women Who Empower, we have convened and hosted events in 9 cities across the globe, ranging from full-day summits, one-day summits here in Boston, to events and gatherings and convenings in London, in Dubai, in Shanghai, and at each and every one of our campuses in Charlotte, Toronto, Seattle, Silicon Valley, and in Vancouver. And we have had more than 90 speakers running the gamut from Olympic gold medalists and artists and dancers to CEOs and journalists. 2,000 people have attended to date to listen to these stories, to share perspectives, to share best practices and ideas. And I think equally important, almost all of those attendees, and not all of them are from Northeastern, that's the power of this network, we think, that we are extending through events like this today. Almost all of those attendees have continued to support post-event, either through their philanthropy, which enables us to support our student leaders and our Women's Interdisciplinary Society of Entrepreneurship, WISE, which President Aoun mentioned, or through their mentorship. And we hope that everyone here today will consider one of those things, and there are ways to do that are in your program. So quite simply, Women Who Empower started as a way we thought about empowering individuals, but with our deep belief that diverse and inclusive communities empower everyone. We want to continue to connect, to expand this network, to collaborate, as we're doing today, with the best institutions and organizations in the world, and to create communities in which everyone has the opportunity to thrive equally. We're looking forward to today. We have a lot of you who've been part of this. We're looking forward to welcoming everyone into this network. And with that, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane. Thank you. So once again, I allowed myself to share some of the lessons learned. My colleagues are going to come and share with us all other lessons. We're going to talk also about challenges that we're facing and opportunities. So without further ado, I'm going to invite my colleagues, the presidents, to come to have a very comfortable seat. Please. No, please, I'll be here.
You should be.
Do you want me in the middle? Whatever you say. Okay. I obey orders.
Yeah. Your staff told me. We mix. Yes, we mix.
Yeah, we can't have it.
Right.
Can't have boys on one side and girls on the other.
Okay.
To do this, yeah.
So
Good stuff.
you first of